Hello and welcome to Gravitas Wins Conversations. I'm your host, Joseph Jute. With the explosive growth of generative AI, data is not just oil, it is the new art. Data scientists are the new artists. We have one such awesome artist with us today, Tamanna. We are going to discover how she got into data science, how anybody can get into data science, how we can grow in data science, and everything in between. Before we go into the interview, can I request you to subscribe to the podcast, write a review, and share the podcast with your fellow business leaders? Hello, Tamanna. Welcome to the conversation.
Hi, Joseph. Thank you so much for having me here.
Welcome. Tamanna, let's start with this. How did you get into data science? Were there any specific courses or degrees or resources that helped you getting into data science?
Okay. So I remember when entered the industry, I was always surrounded by the data and I knew that it's gonna be tremendous. It's gonna be everywhere in coming time. So I wanted to kind of go in the forefront of the advanced problem solving. So I decided that why not data science? I started my preparation to pursue it full time and then did some courses. Also, I believe in networking and it really helps. So on LinkedIn there were many opportunities and platforms, coffee mug, right? I used Talkmate a lot because there were some influencers like who are already doing well in this field. So I got chance to connect with them like on 101. So it really helps. Apart from that, YouTube is full of resources. Some online platforms are also like selling courses. I tried them, but in the end whatever you learn at your own, it helps.
True.
So yeah, this
Okay.
is what I did.
So you talked about the YouTube and the networking.
Yeah.
Were there any curriculum that you followed? Can you talk a little more about that?
Okay. So initially, I started my research actually. I wanted to check if this field is meant for me or not.
Um,
So I started reading articles and also I started picking up some Udemy courses because I wanted to understand like how the whole process looks like. I did that and it really helped. It gave me context that it's doable.
mm,
I was scared of coding because I come from non-technical background, so I was not sure if it's meant for me or not. But you are not supposed to be a pro in coding if you want to enter this field. So that was something which kind of gave me a motivation to go there, and I decided. Apart from that, as I mentioned, that I connected with some people who are doing good in big companies,
mm,
and I also wanted to do the same. So I felt like connecting myself with them and understand how did they do it.
mm.
So I was benefited by their knowledge. They never hesitated to connect with me on Teams, and we were doing such kind of meetings together to do the KT session, and I was connecting with them on like a frequent basis. So I kind of found many mentors, and I'm glad that they are still with me and they keep on guiding me today as well. So it's the big thing, and it is really going to help, I think, everybody who is going on that track.
Okay. So we talked about how you gained that knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
but how did you gain practical experience? One is networking, finding out
Mm-hmm.
what is going on Udemy course. All
Yeah.
of that is fine. But how did you gain the practical experience, especially since you are saying you are not from a
Yeah.
coding background?
Yes, actually, practical experience is very important. And when you do courses, you don't get that confidence that you are actually ready for an industry. So I used Data Camp. So it offers you a hands-on, training. So it gives you that knowledge. Apart from that, Hacker Rank, I started solving problems on Hacker Rank. It helped me actually. I was getting the idea like how problems gonna look like. This is what I did. Apart from that, I was also checking some projects which were posted on Kaggle, GitHub. So how they are going to structure their projects, because everybody, they have their own way of writing code. And then I was always working towards betterment of my code writing and problem solving kind of stuff. So I was referring their codes and I always ended up learning something or the other. So this is how you start. You also connect with people and they tell you like what kind of problem you need to solve. Initially, when I started, I was solving very basic problems. I did very basic projects, and somebody out of my mentors told me that this is very basic, and if you're going to put it in your resume, people are not even calling you. They are not going to call you. And I think this is where I understood that just by following the typical norms, it's not gonna help you in the long run. So I decided my research, whatever data was available in Kaggle, and it was undealt. Like nobody published any project on that also. So I started treating that as well, and I started working on that based on the learnings which I had, the theoretical concepts and all of that. And this is where you end up learning. If you are copying code and trying to implement it your own, it's good for the start, but when you have to do something and test your learnings, if you are actually doing something good or not, if you're going in a right path or not, this is where I think you should focus on solving problems at your own. So I picked some data sets which are available. There are many sites which are offering data and advanced data also, like it's not like typical basic data, so you can use that and start solving problems at your own.
Okay, so Kaggle is one of the things that you talked about.
Yes.
What are the other sites where you said there are data and even advanced data is available? What are the other sites that are available like that?
Okay, so pandas, they have also their inbuilt data. I use that also, and there were some websites like there are many also offer their data, so that they can also get benefit of the understanding, because people take, there are some challenges which they are posting, so it's win-win kind of situation. We also get to know something, we solve real world problem, we learn a lot by doing that, and they also get perspective of different people. So yeah, such kind of contests are also happening, you can try to attempt them. So such kind of
Okay,
things.
so Tamanna, you said you're not from a coding background.
Yeah.
Now, now you've been in this field for quite some years.
Yes.
Uh, Between the coding and math and statistics, what is important? What percentage is important? What do you use on a daily basis? Can you give me some idea about it?
Sure. Uh, so in data science, the beauty of data science is that only it's not only about one skill. It's about
Hmm.
multiple skills. You need to carry all these. As you mentioned, statistics is important. Coding is also important. Problem solving, analytical thinking, and so the very important thing is storytelling. I realized it very late, but it's also very important, like how you communicate complex findings to non-technical stakeholders. So all these things are very important. Some, there are some norms also, like for example, people say that SQL is not important for data science, and I was like blown away by this statement. I remember, like, I did a basic course, and when I entered and I was given a project to work on, most of the time I was working with SQL only.
Hmm.
So and this is how I learned, like when you are playing with data, you are doing data manipulation, pre-processing, SQL plays very important role there, because most of the data is sitting in databases. So if you'll pull the data and transfer it to some other platform where you are doing coding and doing the manipulation, so things don't work like that. Sometimes you need to use SQL. So these are all skills which you need to have. And talking about the importance, as I mentioned, like if you want to enter the field, you are not supposed to be a pro in coding. You should know coding to some extent. Like there are some libraries, there are pretty obvious libraries which you should have expertise in, like for data manipulation, pandas, numpy, seaborn, matplotlib for data visualization. So the basic steps for data science projects, so they have different libraries which are involved. So if you are having like a good hands on these libraries, you are pretty sorted to enter. Later you realize that you are going to learn much more. So this is the thing. And statistics, yes, it's the backbone of data science. I was lucky that when I was working in my previous companies also, I was surrounded by data, and we were using data methodologies, data driven approaches to solve the problems on different tools like Excel, Minitab, Jump, and all of that. And I also got chance to do this certification called Six Sigma, so I'm black belt in it. So it also helped me because most of the statistical concepts were clear, but I refresh them. So it's also very important, because when it comes to picking up a model, let's say, to work on, so it very depends based on the problem, and you'll have to have that understanding, like which model will work for which problem statement. So to get that clarity, your statistical concept should be clear. So this is where statistics come in picture. Apart from that, mathematics, because modeling, it involves lots of maths, and you need to understand like how this model is functioning, how this algorithm is gonna work, like that.
Okay. From all of the libraries names that you said, I could only relate to few.
Mhm.
I'm assuming you're using more of Python than R.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any reason for it?
Yeah. So Python is the first preference for any data scientist when they are working on a project. R comes in picture where you are exploring the data, you're doing the visual, like the statistical part. If you want to explore it much, this is where R comes in. It has lots of offering in that particular zone. Python offers overall libraries. So this is where I have worked most of the time. And new advancement to that is also like if you're working on any cloud, let's say Azure or AWS. So I also started recently, only I started working on PySpark. So it's pretty much similar to Python, but if you want to work on like a big data is the thing which you can use. Like this is what we are using.
Okay. So with Python, you can go a long distance
Yeah.
within data science.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how does let's talk about your work for a minute. How does your work week look like? What do you do? How does all of these things work? You already talked about building models and looking at some of data visualizations. How does it look like, Tamanna?
Okay. So actually it always starts with a collaboration, because if you are sitting with a, like, let's say business team, right? So problem always comes from there only. And you are from tech background, let's say, and they are from non-tech background, they want you to solve a particular problem. So what we do, like, we interact with them, we try to understand what are the challenges which they are facing and we can help them out with. So we interact with them, we start understanding the problems, we see what we can do, and after that we build a team. We collaborate with different people who are handling data, who are already like kind of, having some domain expertise. We also interact with them so that they can also provide us additional triggers which we can consider while building any model. So then we start working on our model and model life cycle. It starts with data pre-processing, like problem solving. After that data pre-processing, you do some visualizations to understand hidden patterns in data, that too in different tools. After that, statistics, by using your understanding, like analytical thoughts or whatever we can call it. So you pick up model, you experiment with whatever you have in hand, and after that you have findings. But directly you don't go, you have to test it, you have to validate it for months, and then when you have something to share with business that this is the finding. And you'll have to also know this art, as I mentioned earlier, that storytelling. This is also bringing this visualization thing in picture. It's also, I think, one should understand how to make this thing to understandable to next person, because if something, you have some complex insights, you are not able to communicate it to next person, then it's of no use, because they'll have to work on it in the end of the day. So we also create some fancy charts which are easy to digest for next person, like that. And sometimes we segment data, like that machine learning, we use it for predicting some outcomes based on the data. Also we do some segmentations where we can, let's say, filter the data based on the database which we have, like we'll have to bring some cream out of that. So like that, this is how we are doing things. Apart from that, whatever because every data science project, it's new and unique in its way. So every day is full of new learnings. It's not just that you learn something and you are going to implement it whole day. So yeah. And a good part about it is that this is a field which not only motivate you to learn new things and grow, but also it's essential to sustain here.
Okay, wonderful. From everything that you talked about, Tamana,
Mm-hmm.
it looks like there are technical skills. They say, for example, data science, modeling, statistics, and all of those kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But you also emphasized a lot on the non-technical skills, like, say, for example, networking, collaboration, team
Yes.
building, and understanding the business, storytelling, and so on and so forth. Can you touch a bit on that, the non-technical skills? What comes to your mind? One, two, how did you build it? Again, did you learn on the job, or did you learn any other skills from that particular skill from any other courses? Can you touch upon that, please?
Okay. Actually, I believe in like following mentors, and you have been one that. So I think you should connect with your mentors, and they know, because they have experience, so they can enlighten you in this particular zone. So I remember I used to think that you have technical knowledge and this is what you need to have. But later I realized, as you mentioned, collaboration, it's a skill to have. It may sound like easy, like what it takes, you just have to go, and no, collaboration is an art. And to have that, I think it's a practice, it's a matter of practice. You need to understand, like, have to be a good listener. You have to talk well that next person can digest what you're trying to say. So I started reading. I was not a frequent reader, but my mentors, one of them suggested me that you should read. And this is where I think this collaboration thing helped me, because I was always hesitating to go and collaborate, like, on a very right note. Apart from that, networking, I was always believer that networking is the thing. You should surround yourself with the people you want to become like, right? So I used to connect with every data scientist whosoever was working in this field, and their LinkedIn description was all about that. So they were posting stuff, and to start networking, it's not just building connections. Obviously they post stuff, you learn a lot from that, but also connecting with them. So there are a lot of videos on that as well, but I can share what I have learned. I remember there was a lady and she was talking about some messages. People send simple message like hi, and then they'll wait for hi from them, and this is how this conversation end. You should write what you are seeking for that person, because nobody wants to waste their time, right? So you should be pretty clear and polite at the same time, like what you are seeking for the from the next person. And people really help. They have time to invest only if you are asking decently. This is what I have learned, and it really works like magic. So I started reaching out to people like in different way, and I got response always. And now if somebody also texts me, I also respond that way, because you also learn, right? If somebody is nice to you, you also become nice automatically. So this is how it works, and this is how I started my networking. So yeah, this
Okay.
was.
So I can already feel the answer for the next question I'm going to ask, but I still want to throw the question to you. If somebody were to start today with all the generative AI tools that are there and all of those kinds of stuff, so today, if somebody were to start, and when I say somebody were to start, two kinds of people that I'm talking about, okay? One is fresher, straight out of college, probably they know some bit of a programming, but they don't have any other industry experience. They listen to this podcast, then say, hey, what? I want to be like Tamanna. So somebody's fresh. What steps they should take? Can you give me some tips on that? Okay, so that's one. The second is somebody who has experience, say for example, 20 years experience, something like that. So they have maybe coding experience, they have architecting experience, and so on and so forth. But they have worked on the front end and the back end, but not really anything to do with data. So you can assume that they are data illiterate, but they do have experience, industry experience. How should they start? How should they think about it?
I'll start with the first category, like for extreme fresher to
Yeah.
this field. I think they can first, as I mentioned, I what I did was I was going through some articles. If they have already done that and they are pretty sure that if they want to enter in this field, they can start picking up a course like basic Udemy course. There are many courses which are really decent. And when they will complete a course, no, they will automatically get this understanding that what next they want
Mm.
to learn, because you get these words, get to know about these are words, okay, this is how things should work. So you automatically search for that. This is a thing, but apart from that, you can also do Coursera courses, because they are wonderful courses. I mean, they are full of knowledge. They are, every time when I complete a course, I redo it also, and every time I learn something new.
Mm.
So it's surprising, but I keep on redoing them as well. Another thing is that complete every course. When I was a fresher, like fresher as in when I was starting my journey, because I was from complete non-coding background. So I remember, like, I used to buy every different course, and I never completed one. Like, I was hopping from one to another. This is how things don't work. You learn when you complete one thing. So this should be your approach. You pick up one skill. Maybe you can hop from one skill to another, because sometimes you get bored and you really don't want to lose your motivation. So just to stay motivated, you can do that, but complete whatever course you are picking up, because every course will have something or the other to offer. So yeah, you can do that. Coursera is good. Camp is also good. I mean, I used it, so it also give you a platform to practice at your own. So you are also writing code and also executing that. So this is good thing about that. There are multiple courses. YouTube is also full of such resources. I keep on posting such content that has everything. You don't need to go for any course, to be honest. But maybe to content ourselves, we keep on finding courses. I have many friends who were reaching out to me, and they were asking, we want to start, but which course should we buy? And I was like, why you want course? I mean, everything is there on YouTube, and I'm telling you it by my experience, because I was also reading the articles. I was reaching out to people, as I mentioned. And third thing which I was doing was like into videos.
Mm.
There are some people who are also providing start to end kind of stuff from start to end. So everything is there. This awareness is also missing. Like initially I was complaining about this thing, and that information is there but it's distorted.
Mm.
But few people, they have worked on it and they have posted everything from sequence, so you can start from scratch and go to the advanced level of that too by following them. So this is, I think, I will advise fresher for this thing. But when they'll complete something, they will have automatically this idea that what next. So yeah.
Okay, so that's for the freshers. If
Yeah.
somebody, the experienced
Yes.
candidate, have to go in.
Yeah. Okay. For experienced candidates, I think they will have this benefit that, let's say you mentioned that they have worked on front end and back end. So coding experience they have, and it will become easy for them to kind of work on code. But statistics, they'll have to understand statistics. What are the statistical concepts which data science is using? Model like algorithm working, like how they are working, their functioning, and all of that. Some maths, if they come from maths background, that's good. Otherwise, it's not advanced mathematics. Like people also get traumatized by the fact that calculus, I don't know that. I was talking to one of my friend and she was saying that, what, I was not a math student from start, so like can I go in this field? I was like, no, it's basic maths. It may sound fancy and like so complex, but when you'll go in the depth, now you'll understand that there's nothing like alien. Anybody can understand that. So mathematics, this, and communication, collaboration, I'm assuming that if you're working in a team, they will have that skill. And storytelling, if you have something, you should have this effective communication and storytelling skill, because it really helps when it comes to communicating the insights to stakeholders.
Okay, now what are the misconceptions that you have seen about data science? Is it a magic wand that can solve all the problems? So what are the misconceptions that you have come across, whether within the data science fields itself,
Mhm.
or others looking out from outside into the data science field, they think this is a magic land, Disneyland that can solve all the problems? What are the misconceptions that you have seen?
I think first one you said yourself only, that people think that data scientists are magicians. It's not. Some things work, some turned out to be a learning, right? I won't say in my organization, but I have seen this scenario in real world also. Like people think that they give you a problem and they want something magical to come out of that particular work which I've done. But it does not work like that. Sometimes you also get to know that this is the thing which we can't go with. So yeah, this is the first thing. And I was reading one of the article, and there was this one person who was working in a big company, and he mentioned that people don't understand the job of data scientist well, so they think that they will do everything. So it's not that. Some projects will end up giving you a learning. Not every project is successful, and it is not easy. It's not easy to digest for everyone. But it is, this is what it is. Second thing, apart from this data science world which I have seen, and it's in the people who are trying to get into this field, so they are scared that coding is important. It is, but you are not supposed to be pro, right? Later when you will be having 3-4 years of experience and you want to proceed ahead in your career, then DSA comes in picture. 3-4 days I was backing to a data scientist who is working with Google. So I remember him guiding, he was telling me some skills which I should polish if I want to proceed and go for big companies. He mentioned DSA, and I was never sure if I will ever learn DSA, because I was like, no, I'm data scientist, why would I learn? But learning in this field, you'll have to learn every day. There are new challenges. Every day brings new challenges, every day brings new learning. So I started learning DSA now. I'm solving problems. I'm learning what are algorithms, how they are looking like, and also system design. I used to hear these words, but now I'm also learning, because in the end, if you want to go in big companies, this is your vision. So you should have complete knowledge about everything. Like you'll have to design an app, let's say, which is AI based, which is, let's say, a machine learning based. You'll have to have idea about each and everything. And you also understand because you're also into tech. So all these things are also essential. But to start with, I think you can focus on the, I won't say basic, but the main ingredients of data science.
Wonderful. Thank you. Tamanna, you have taken about 30 minutes to answer all my questions.
Okay.
To all my guests, I asked 3 rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Okay? So here they go. What's the kindest thing someone has done for you?
They replied my message. I was not sure if people will ever reply, but I saw that when you politely ask, they respond.
Wonderful. This podcast is about leadership. In that sense, can you please share what you think as the best leadership quality and who has manifested it in your life?
Okay. Best leadership quality as per me is that you should be voice of your team at points. I mean, you can't initially, you should not let your team members to go and do that. The comfort should be there, that belief in your team should be there.
Wonderful. Very good. Finally, what is the definition of living a good life?
Living a good life means enjoying what you are doing.
Wow. I'm living a good life. I'm, I'm sure
Yes,
you are.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Tamana, thank you so much. We are recording this on a morning. You took the time to answer all my questions. I'm sure it is going to be helpful to a lot of people. Thank you so much, Tamana.
Thank you, Joseph.
I hope you enjoyed our conversation. Can I request you to share the key takeaways from our conversation? If you liked the conversation, please share it with others. Have a life of wins.